What's good, y'all? What's good? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And on today's live stream, we're going to be talking about top revenue producing protocols. So today's title is actually These Are Crypto's Top Revenue Earners. Are they a buy? And I wanted to talk to y'all about this because on my last live stream, I was breaking down the top cryptos for my portfolio, and I got rid of a lot of things over this last year. And I say I'm concentrating. Then someone brings up in the comments, they talk about Canton Network. So I said, okay. They brought up Canton because they said Canton makes a lot of revenue. I agree. I see the numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the top revenue producing protocols and coins, talk about a little bit about what they do with their revenue and what whether we should as crypto investors put these type of crypto projects or platforms inside of our portfolio. So that's what we're going to discuss today, and I'll tell you my thesis on it, what I see, and what makes it all make sense for me of why certain coins deserve a position and why others don't. So before we begin about revenue, let's hit some of these top stories of today, just a few of them, and then we're going to dive in deep into the revenue. As y'all join the stream or watch this later, say what's good in the chat. Any comments, any questions, definitely let me know. Here we go. So I thought that this was very interesting. Very interesting. So this is a chart of the top assets on the planet. Okay. Number one, obviously, is gold, sitting around $4,300, just under, slightly under 30 trillion. Then we have Nvidia at 5.3 trillion, Apple, which just hit 5 trillion last week at 4.6 trillion, Alphabet, aka Google, 4.3 trillion, Microsoft. Then we have silver, far from its all-time high, still at 3.48 trillion. Amazon slightly under 3 TMC, that's Taiwan. And then you got Broadcom, 2 trillion, Saudi Aramco. And what has brought to my attention was Bitcoin. Bitcoin slid. Bitcoin for a while was in the top 10, doing really well, sitting above 2 trillion. I think it was number 7 or 8. It slid out the top 10, y'all. Bitcoin has slid out the top 10. Does this signify a bottom, or can Bitcoin go lower and lower? That's something for us to think about. All right, and then I want to put this one on your radar, especially if you got some older folks that you've been putting on the crypto, that you've been teaching about crypto, about custody. Scams, right? Scams are popping off for crypto. This one says crypto fraud tops FBI's annual crime reports as Americans lose billions to scams. Crypto fraud alone accounted for 7.2 billion in reported losses. And last live stream, I showed y'all that wallets holding Bitcoin got drained. They were drained, y'all. So we have to pay attention to where we're holding our cryptos. You got the Coinbase custody out there. You got different custody providers. You have ledgers. Be careful about tweeting about a ledger. They'll send you a DM, some scammer will, things like that. Be safe, y'all. Be safe. Keep your passwords locked in a vault. Now we have Robinhood. If y'all been paying attention, you've seen that Robinhood has dropped Robinhood Chain. They've been doing major volume. They've been producing. And a lot of it is trading meme coins and real world assets, which is their direct connection to stocks, ETFs, things of that nature. You know, the big dogs, the Mag 7 and whatnot. And Robinhood Chain is built on or off of Ethereum Layer 2 Arbitrum. Put that on your radar. Look out for Robinhood Chain. They don't have a token, so to get any return essentially or speculate on their platform, I believe you have to purchase the stock. But the big thing for them, again, is the blockchain for stock tokens. Build on the chain for tokenized real world assets, including stock tokens tied to NVIDIA, Google, Apple, and many more. You got all the big dogs up here. And I think, tokenization, we'll do a whole nother live stream on that. This is definitely some important stuff happening. And if you're outside of the United States, that's where you really benefit. So they got permissionless by design, purpose built for AI agents, made for developer speed you can rely on. And then all the big dogs that they're partnering with. So those are the top stories I got for y'all in regards to what's happening in crypto right now. We'll keep that going for you. Now, let's get to the real story, which is the revenue, okay? These are crypto's top revenue earners. We're going to pull some of our data directly from DeFi Llama, a great source. So here we are. We're on DeFi Llama. Let me scroll up. So this is top revenue producing coins right now. They got, or platforms or businesses they got on the list. So here it is. Interesting. Tether, number one, stablecoin issuer, asset yields from USDT backing investments, which are US Treasury bills and other fixed income assets like repos, commercials, and paper. Commercial paper. Tether, number one. 16 million in revenue in one day. In 1 week, 111, and then $482 million in revenue. And revenue for Tether is these treasury bills, mostly a lot. In the United States, laws got passed where you need to have your assets backed one-to-one if you're a stablecoin issuer. So Tether essentially is trading our dollars, and they're purchasing treasury bills that pay them 3.5% or so. And then, so that's 70, 100 billion in those. And then we get to use USDT, and they're earning major money and they're not sharing it. Basically, that's what's happening. And then you're looking at Circle, similar deal, smaller market cap, but very similar. USDC, all yields from USDC backing cash equivalent assets and US Treasury bills collected by Circle. They made 6 million today, revenue 44 million, 192 million. So a little less than half, 40% of what Tether is making in 1 month. Circle is more legit, on more chains, and Circle is a public company now. So if you wanted to get access to them, you would buy the stock. Tether is not a public company. And then we have number 3, Canton Network. Always interesting. This is the one that user commented about. This one says Canton is currently distributing massive incentives to its fees, and revenue should be interpreted with that context. So they're pumping right now. They're pumping themselves. This is a blockchain. All the fees collected, traffic purchases, pre-approval burn, pre-approval renew, setup burn, dust expire, holdings, etc. So for the month, I thought 30-day rolling window, 55 million. That's a lot of money. Canton is producing, and we'll dive deep into what Canton is shortly. But Canton's producing. It's definitely an institutional play. Then you got Pump. Y'all know what Pump is. Pump.fund. They got Pump Swap, Pump Telegram terminal. So Pump, slice of the bonding curve, trade fee plus graduation fees and Mayhem mode fees. So when you're launching a token, Pump is taking a slice. They have earned 32 million in 30 days, and I heard the team is really small. Chainlink, number 5. All the link tokens transferred from the payment abstraction layer to the reserve staking rewards contract, 4.5 million. After you get out of the top 4, numbers drop a lot. Well, let me go to the 30-day. This would be a better way to actually look at it. A wider window. So you got Tether, Circle, Canton, Hyperliquid, which is the trading derivatives, no revenue, perps 99% of fees go to the assistance fund for buying hype. So they're pumping their own tokens with revenue from the platform. Pump. Then you got Tron. Amount of TRX fees were burned. So they must have high fees over there. And then you got Polymarket. This is prediction market betting. Grayscale. They produce ETFs and whatnot. Sky, and then you got a lot of institutions and Phantom Wallet. The list goes on. Again, chain links on there, and that's what's happening. Very interesting Y'all let me know what you think about that list here. Then as we slide through, these are some of the like big headlines that I've seen here. Top 15 blockchains by revenue last month, and this is strictly blockchains, not just protocols and other companies. Canton, I just showed y'all 55. Tron 26, Robinhood Chain 3 million, Polygon 2, Polygon's crazy. 2.4 million. Base about 2 million, more than Ethereum. Then you got Solana, BNB, and a lot of this is just from fees and volume. Chainlink, Arbitrum, Hyperliquid, Filecoin, Injective, Monad, Starklink, and Aptos. These are the blockchains that are making big money. And if you look at active addresses, Canton's not on here for a reason. Tron and Solana and BNB are clearly the winners there. If Base can get anything higher, it will just obviously hit up to number 3. But Robinhood, again, pumped by its own network. And then this one, we got a list of protocols, top 15 highest protocol revenue sources. Here's all the sources down there: DeFi, Llama, Artemis, Grayscale Investments. This is as of June. But again, Hyperliquid, Pump, Pancake Swap. It's all in the crypto financial sectors. Jupiter Swap, Aave, and you have Aerodrome at number 7 here. World Liberty, that's the Trump coin and all that. Lido Finance, and then the list goes on. Uniswap and Radium towards the bottom of the list. They're all clocking in a lot, but most of these, as you can see, are DeFi. Does that make sense? DeFi protocols. That's what's actually happening here. And then we have this one, another recent one, but the list is, similar, like I've been showing you. Pump, Hyperliquid, Pia is a gamified mining, Polymarket, Sky, and the list goes on. But these DeFi ones is really cooking it. And then obviously the stable coins. So Tether, Tron, Circle, Hyperliquid, the list is keep repeating itself. And the reason why I'm looking at the list like that is so we can see the trend there. Stable coins, right? Then we have DeFi protocols. That's where volume swaps going. And then stable coins are also used on DeFi, used for transactions. These are the biggest money makers in the market. Are they a buy? That depends on what your goal is in your portfolio. I do really like Uniswap. You can make an argument for hype with the buybacks, and definitely make an argument with Aerodrome for the same reason. Buybacks. I like buybacks. Circle, you have to own the stock. I don't really like the stock. Now let's go look at some of these platforms here. Again, Tether. If you don't know, now you know. Tether, stablecoin, used all around the world, does have some reserve backing scrutiny, but Tether is definitely it. So why use Tether? Launched in 2014, so it got some time under his belt, under his feet. Tether tokens pioneered the stablecoin model and are the most widely traded. Tether tokens offer the stability and simplicity of fiat currencies, coupled with the innovative nature of blockchain technology, representing a perfect combination of both worlds. I do see, we go to Circle next, that Circle is really the one killing it for agentic commerce and in the United States, because it's a public company, it's more trusted. Now, Circle, a new era for digital business. And click here. And the main thing, obviously, they have USDC, and then they have the euro as well. I'm on Circle.so. This is for businesses. I want Circle. Let's go to Circle. Let me get my keyboard. We just want the internet money. Here we go. The tech stack for the agentic economy is facts. And when I'm using my platform, Oya Picks, which make sure for y'all haven't seen it, Oya Picks here for my prediction markets, and we'll soon add perps. Make sure y'all give it a follow if y'all want to get some picks. We just took a bet on, my AI did, on Netanyahu visiting New York. and then you got one with Halan over there. But that's what's popping off. And it places bets on Alpha Arcade. And then again, we have data points for agentic commerce. Now, getting back to it, the whole point of bringing that up is, again, USDC is dominating in agentic commerce. The base blockchain is dominating there. Then you got Algorand as a runner-up, far behind, but running up right now. And that's why I think a big moat or advantage that Circle has, also being a public company. Now, if we go look at Uniswap on the charts for the past year, just like everything else, it's beat down. All-time chart, not bad though, not bad. Uniswap is a moneymaker. Now let's go look at Canton for the last year. Canton, not looking good, not looking good at all, but just like everything else is beat down. It's a much newer blockchain, $3.5 billion. Do I like the institutional platforms? Not that much. And again, we'll talk about Ondo more in the future, but Ondo is another institutional platform. It had a nice run up, but it's more focused on tokenization. Now back to Canton here. Institutional plays, again, if I'm gonna go full institutional, I'd rather get a stock. We'll talk about it more throughout the future here. But this Canton right here, the power of capital markets meet the real value of blockchain. Unlock digital asset liquidity with Canton, the only public chain with privacy. Privacy is huge. Wall Street definitely likes privacy. So Canton is tapping in with the big dogs, right? S&P and Dow Jones indices puts its iBox U.S. Treasuries index on the Canton Network, allowing institutions to access bond benchmark data through tokens rather than feeds. They're doing interesting things. I think Canton, again, is worth looking into. I'm not totally sold, but it's definitely worth looking into.
They say money never sleeps, except when markets close at 4 p.m. and on weekends. That's opportunity lost to lend, to grow, to make moves. But now everything.
This is what Canton's about. I think that's interesting. If anything, they're going to be really looking at Ondo. I think that's a real competitor. Now, Uniswap. Y'all probably know about Uniswap. Largest DEX essentially on Ethereum. They're on Base as well. They have the Ethereum advantage, right? They trade in all kind of tokens, and you can launch here, track your portfolio, NFTs. They're definitely expanding, but again, as a money maker, as a volume oriented DEX, I like Uniswap though. I like Uniswap. I think it's probably undervalued right now. I like Uniswap. And then Aerodrome. I like Aerodrome even better than Uniswap. And I like what Aerodrome does. 373,000 Aero buybacks. That's their token, Aero. A-E-R-O. The Aerodrome PFG has acquired and max locked 373,000 Aero as part of its market-aware buybacks. Buybacks. I love the sound of buybacks. The buyback model is designed to scale development based on market conditions, concentrating resources where it matters the most. Aerodrome puts a lot of his money back into its ecosystem, and that's smart. This year, more than 30 million Aero has been acquired and locked via the PFG Flight School Relay. So they're locking the tokens, which reduces the buy pressure. Eyes on the prize. Last year, spot exchanges generated 4.5 billion in fees. Derivatives exchanges 3.5 billion. The chains themselves 2.5. Spot exchanges represent the biggest prize in terms of potential to capture and redistribute value maximally. That's what Aerodrome is doing. And that is a big part why I like it. So Now, again, back to it. We just broke down what's happening in terms of revenue. We have identified that it's these like institutional type plays that are related to stable coins. Then you have the DeFi DEX platforms. And then third, you have the blockchain in general. So Circle and Tether, Canton dominating. Then you have Uniswap, the Aerodrome. You have these Jupiter Swap on Solana, right? And then you have Ethereum blockchain. You got Tron blockchain. You got the Base blockchain, Robinhood blockchain. So you got three categories to invest in. The stablecoin category is the hardest because you have to purchase a stock, and then Tether, you can't purchase it. So that's kind of off the table unless you want the stock. And then number two, you have the DeFi platforms. I like Uniswap, but I like Aerodrome even more. And then you have the blockchains in general, which are the layer one blockchains. So are these a buy to you? I want y'all to let me know in the comments. I already told y'all I like Aerodrome. And then in terms of a blockchain, I like the OG Ethereum, even though I don't like using it, but it still dominates. But if I had to choose between Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm definitely choosing Bitcoin. But in terms of this argument for revenue, I like Ethereum. Haven't been a big user of Tron, so y'all let me know what you think. Again, these are crypto's top revenue earners. Are they a buy? In the chat or in the comments, out of all these cryptos and these categories, would you put any of them in your portfolio? That's what I want to know from y'all. I gave you my thesis. I gave you all of the data that you would need to really think about this. Appreciate y'all for tapping in, and I'll see you on the next stream. We need to dive in deeper into tokenization, and I owe y'all an Algorand update. Somebody was asking about Gora, and I haven't made that video yet, so I can put that into the Algorand update. These are my next two streams, tokenization and the Algorand deep dive. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Until the next time, y'all.